I am joined today with Dan Galloway, one of the best sales trainers that I know, and I am so excited for you to meet him as well. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Thanks, Eddie. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so Dan, give us a rundown of how did this all come together for you? How did you get so good at solving problems through training real estate agents how to do different aspects of their job?
Well, I got started in real estate about a decade ago and took off really quickly. I sold 42 homes in my first year, really successful. And that naturally sort of brought other agents in my office to me to say, hey, how in the world were you able to do that? And I found pretty quickly that even more than getting that sale, working with customers, helping them reach their goals, I got even more enjoyment out of helping agents do the same. So translating that into their business. And so over the past 8 years, I've been really fortunate to work with real estate agents and teams across the country to lead them in their sales efforts. Worked with teams that have moved up to $500 million a year in real estate, anywhere from Massachusetts, the DC area, Colorado, Texas, really a nice spread across the country.
Okay, so I'm hearing this right. You started off as a real estate agent and then you went into management. How many years were you a producing agent before you made that jump?
Just 2, to be honest, pretty quick.
Okay. How did it happen for you? Because I can think back early in my career, new home builder, I was in sales, top salesperson for about 14 months. My boss texted me one morning, hey, you're going to get some news today. I'm not with the company anymore. And as soon as he sent that, I said to myself, I want his job. How did that come together for you?
It was a sort of similar to that. My sales manager moved into a managing broker role. They were looking at replacing him, and there were actually 10 candidates for that role. I was both the youngest in terms of age and experience. So I spent weeks preparing for that interview, came in, knew exactly what I was going to say, how I was going to convince them that even though I had the shortest track record, I had the best results, and I was going to do the same for the team if they put me in charge of it.
Well, I know you prepared just as well for the interview that we had together. So give me a rundown then of those 6 years and how that landed you in your current spot running our DC office here at Century 21 Redwood Realty.
Right. So I was with that company for a total of 7 years before I decided to move on, wanted to try something new, got into the lead generation business pretty quickly. After that, I was like, no, I really miss working with agents directly. Went to a smaller, newer company out on the West Coast. And again, that just didn't work out. You know, new companies, they fall short all the time. So when I was looking for my next opportunity, I really didn't want to give up that innovative bent, that disruptive bent, but I needed to find some place that had the experience at the leadership level that could steer us through this difficult time, and really that I could trust knew how to make solid, measured decisions.
Yep. So I can tell you this, because I lived the hiring process for you on the other side. And I remember when I first saw your resume, I loved the 2 companies that you worked with on that interim, because those are the exact type of companies that I would, try out if I ever became a free agent, so to speak. And then I love the fact that you were drawn to come back to brokerage because that's your real passion. Working here at Redwood, enjoying working with you, what it really strikes me is your secret weapon is your hustle. You're just willing to out hustle the competition, and that's what produces the results that you see. Where does that drive come from?
Right. So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My mom was a hairstylist for 25 years. She ran salons, taught, ran her own business for a long time. And my dad has run a ton of different businesses, food trucks, restaurants, an Irish pub. He was an agent with Coldwell for a while. And actually, both of their parents had their own businesses as well. So it's really something I grew up with. My parents managed a portfolio of rental properties from the time I was really little, and they'd throw me in the back of the truck, go around, collect rent, do repairs, that sort of thing. It's just always been there for me.
a big part of your job as a managing broker is earning and keeping the trust of the agents who are inside your office, and then also the agents who are outside of your office that you would love to join Redwood. And I suspect that where you have your success is that when you're able to answer a question with a dynamite answer, whether it comes to you immediately or whether you need to do a little bit of research, and you can demonstrate that knowledge, that your relationship just becomes more natural. Does that resonate with how things work for you?
Absolutely. It's really surprising how much this job mirrors what agents do with their customers. That I'm not viewed as an authority just because of my title. I have to earn the right to give agents feedback, earn the right to give them advice, and I have to do that by demonstrating that value, showing them that I know what I'm talking about. And I'll be honest, I oftentimes will say, I'm not sure. Let me think about that. Let me talk with someone and get back. And that act actually builds even more trust than just coming out with an answer from the get-go.
It does. It does. So how do you get yourself amped up for, let's call it mundane topics, mundane conversations? Because we all love to jump into the juicy ones that are just kind of fun to deal with. But when you're doing a training session on paperwork, how do you get yourself excited?
Right. So I taught group fitness classes for a while, boot camp classes. My favorite part of that was developing the playlist. Music really is how I will amp myself up. It's how I get going, finding something that's going to match the energy that I need to bring.
Who are your favorite artists? Give me your favorite genre, and then for this type of behavior, and then your favorite artist from there.
Right. So really, as I've transitioned, I'm more into powerlifting now, and I've got 300 pounds on my back. I really want to hear Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj. Those three, the way that they're able to put bars together, the fact that they're all self-made, they all have that hustle, that's the energy that I want to bring into what I'm doing.
Okay, that's interesting. So a lot of my music, whenever I'm creating, which let's say is 4 hours a day, I've always got tunes on. And I noticed when I was preparing for this video today, I started thinking about this, and I noticed how my music sort of changes throughout the day. I like to start with like light focus in the morning when I don't really need the energy. I feel that kind of gets me in the zone to create. But then as the day goes on, I need more and more upbeat. So I shift over to EDM. And then when I just need to power through and get something across the finish line, I'm more of a long, drawn-out rock jam. If I can get a 30-minute song as part of a 90-minute set, that's sort of my dreamboat finish the work music. My kids are more into the Cardi B. So how important, Dan, is hustle in our current lower activity, higher interest rate environment?
It's extraordinarily important. Every opportunity is harder won. Not saying it's been an easy market to be a real estate agent the past few years. We all know that's certainly not the case. It's just a different kind of difficult now. And you really have to have that motivation to keep going. That's why you're seeing folks exit. It's the ones that have that H factor. They have a mission to do something, to accomplish something that's keeping them in the business. They have to have that now to be successful. That's what's keeping me here.
That's fascinating. I'd love to hear, in your opinion, how much of your job is to instill passion in people, and how much of your job is to identify the people that truly have that passion and go all in on them? Like, can you get someone to be passionate, or do they just have to be a passionate person?
So I'm going to put an asterisk on this before I even start. You cannot instill passion if it's not there. That is not something I can teach. Anything else about being a real estate agent, you can teach. And if you have that motivation, you have that drive, you can pick it up. That's what I love about this business. It really is open and available to whoever is able to work the hardest, put their heart in it. However, when you're in an environment like this where things get really tough really quickly, that passion, I don't want to say it goes away, but it can be hidden. So a big part of my job right now is working with some of our agents who are struggling to figure out, how do we get back to what got you into this business? How do we help you figure out why you've been doing this for 15 years? There's a reason. We just need to reconnect you with that.
Looking at your training sessions, we talked about how you mentally get yourself excited for the day through music, but how do you actually prep for those training sessions? How many hours of work goes into a typical session?
I'd say it's a 3-to-1 ratio. If it is a hour-long training, it's going to take 3-ish hours to prepare. I start with that takeaway. What are those 1 or 2 things I need to make sure that when you leave, you're walking out the door knowing? And then I'm going to build back from there a pathway to lead you to that. And I try to use as much social proof from our agents as possible. Because like I said at the beginning, I can tell you what I know has worked all day long. It is more powerful if I can show that to you from someone that is in the same situation or a similar one that you're in right now. So your peers are the most powerful way to learn.
That's great advice. So we're going to close with this question, Dan. Somebody's out there watching. They're an aspiring grinder, but maybe they don't get up and grind. What's the advice you would give that person?
Right. So I want to tell a story. I want to set the stage. It was a few years ago. I was in a point where I was struggling pretty hard, and I met with a senior leader at a B2B sales company up in New York. Their office is gorgeous. It's in a historic building on Bryant Park, beautiful view that's a little nature, a lot city. And the office everything in there is white. Harsh lines, white, pristine, pure. This woman comes over and she is dressed to the nines. We're sitting, we're talking. And I really asked her, like, how do I get through this? How do I really find what's going to motivate me? How do I build a career like you have? And she said, you young people always want things. You're always chasing everything. You want that quick payoff. What you need to do is find that one thing to run towards, create a plan for that. Find that one thing you want the most in this world and chase that. And that is how you will achieve things.
Wow. Perfect way to end it. Find that one thing and chase after it. Thank you so much, Dan. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Eddie. Take care.